No, I rely very heavily on my local partners, and I have to say, I know that for all that I'm learning the language, 我说点点中文. I love working here. I have to work with partners that I trust, that also we both believe in the same project together, and we can fight for the same story, even if that means going through the government process. We all are following the same story and fighting for it together. Okay. I actually think, though, that's a common theme. You always have to work with people you trust who are fighting to tell the same story you are.
Hey, if you're working here, you have to understand the rules here. If you work in Hollywood, understand the rules in Hollywood. Censorship happens in Hollywood in ways that people don't realize. But what you submit, what is the flavor of the week? What are the studios and what do the buyers want right now? What are the agency wants? If you want to go play that game, you got to understand the rules. So there are rules here, there are rules in Australia, there are rules everywhere.
In American television, you cannot, under any circumstance, show smoking. That is an enormous thing. So unless occasionally they will allow it, but only if the person smoking dies, or they are the really, really bad guy who's then going to go murder a bunch of people, so that you feel like, oh, if you smoke, then you also are a killer. I did a show where there was it was an Alice in Wonderland thing, and there's an imaginary caterpillar who talks and smokes a hookah, and it's not a real thing. And they said, well, we can't show the caterpillar inhaling, and I'm like, it's a cartoon of a thing. So you could show the caterpillar exhaling, but not inhaling. So you'd walk into a room and there was just smoke everywhere.
What we've experienced, because we bridge China and the US and UK and all kind of co-production, a faulty assumption that we often come across, and it's an understandable fault, is that people are attracted to come to China because of the opportunities, the investments, and you can get things done, and this is the beginning of something special. But the false assumption that most people make outside of China is they think that rules that they've accustomed to where they're at are applicable here. And when they're not, they're confused or frustrated. Well, you have to understand the rules here. Right? If you want to take your kids to a playground, you have to understand the playground rules. You can't be in a playground and drink beer and do crazy stuff that you would do in a nightclub, right? Different places have different rules.
Hope not.
Understand rules.
I would add that, through my filter of science fiction and fantasy, when you're developing story that's set inside a fantastic world, you can have a little more leniency with the circumstances. It can be symbolic or thematically, like something you would do present day, for example, set in China or anywhere, but because it's in a alien-looking world with alien-looking species, nobody really understands specifically that that's what you're saying.
You can get away with more.
You can sneak one past, maybe.